nationalism in India towards civil disobedience. Disobedience means what? Refuse to obey the orders of the British government. What happened after the non-cooperation movement? When that movement was stopped by Mahatma Gandhi, so what happened after that? So we'll see it turned violent in many places. So Gandhiji called it off. So it has been taken violent turn. Previously, Gandhiji was forcing to the people that they have to accept the non-violent way, but people were not ready to this. And as they were getting support from other leaders, that's why this movement have been taken the violent turn. And accordingly, Gandhiji have been called it off this movement. Called it off means what? He had been cancelled non-cooperation movement. There was a worldwide depression where agricultural prices fell and peasants were in trouble. So, what was the impact on economy of this? There was worldwide depression. Depression means what? A period of unhappiness. Okay, so in all over the world, people were feeling depression and where agricultural prices fell. Farmers were not getting higher prices for their production and pigeons were in trouble. In this way, they were in trouble condition. So at that time, the commission have been started at that time in 1919. So that commission was the Simon Commission. It made some vague promises to India that none of the leaders were happy with and protested against. Vague promises means what? Those who were not clear. Okay, so those were not true, we can say that. So Simon Commission made some of the vague promises to Indian people, but the Congress people or the leaders of Congress, they were not happy with it, and that's why they protested against Simon Commission. Protested means what? Do you know that? To go against, okay, or strongly they have objection for this, so they were not ready to accept the Simon Commission. The Congress declared that India demanded full independence, but that didn't attract much attention. At the same time, the Congress leaders were coming forward and they were stating to Indian people that we need full independence for India, but that was not working. That didn't attract much attention of the common people or middle class people. So now we read textbook and you have to read which part, the beginning of the page where the point is started towards civil disobedience till the end of the first paragraph, more concrete issues of everyday life. I will show it afterwards. We'll discuss what is there in the PPT first. Now, civil disobedience and the Salt March. Have you heard about Salt March? So now we'll see that Gandhiji chose the salt law as one to break because it mattered to all kinds of people of all caste, classes, and profession. So previously, if we are going to talk about salt, okay, so salt is the basic need of us. That's why Gandhiji have been chosen the salt law as one to break. So he was going to start with to break the salt law because it mattered to all kinds of people. It mattered means what? It is very important for all the people, whether these people are from different castes, from different classes, from different professions, otherwise uh, poor people and rich people. So each and every person needed salt in their life. Otherwise, we cannot prepare the food items. So accordingly, Gandhiji have given importance for salt law. So why he was chosen the salt law to break it? The British had a heavy tax on salt. What is the reason behind this? British were levied a heavy tax on salt, which was not justiciable. So he decided to boil seawater and make salt and not pay tax, so the law would be broken. So accordingly, now when he was going to reach there in the place of Dandi, that is the destination where the salt is producing, so he decided to boil seawater and make salt and do not pay tax. So in this way, he wanted to break the law. He started a long walk from Sabarmati to Dandi on the seashore for 24 days. So within a day, they were passing 10 miles, okay, 10 miles a day, that much distance. So in this way they have to walk 24 days to reach towards Dandi. That place is there in the state of Gujarat. Many people joined him, and then together they broke the law, and that was civil disobedience, disobeying the law. So, in this way, they have been started to disobey the law which was created by British government. So, the non-cooperation movement was stopped, and then civil disobedience have been started by breaking the salt march, by breaking the salt law. So in this way, Gandhiji were getting support of the people or of his volunteers, and in this way they joined him for this salt law march, and that was civil disobedience, disobeying the law. Now you have to find these places on the map. Madras, you know very well, it is at the south side of India. Their Congressation of 1927. Then Dandi Place, it is there in Gujarat, destination of the Salt March. And then Sauri Saura, it is in the state of Uttar Pradesh, calling of the non-cooperation movement. Okay, so what happened at Sauri Saura? Do you know that? Do you know the incident? What happened there? Okay, Sauri Saura was the name of the village which is there in the state of Uttar Pradesh. So what happened? The people, those who were participated in non-cooperation movement, but as they have been participated for longer period of time, they did not get success in it. That's why the liberals and moderate persons were coming forward, and they have chosen the violent way under the leadership of Subhash Chandra Bose and Jawaharlal Nehru. Okay, so in this way, it took a violent way, and what they did afterwards, they had burnt the police station which was there at Sauri Saura. So in this way, Gandhiji have been seen the non-cooperation movement have been taken violent turn, and that's why he had been cancelled this movement at the place Sauri Saura. So this was the incident happened there, and that's why this place is famous nowadays also. Now, non-cooperation and civil disobedience, the difference between it. So non-cooperation is equal to do not cooperate with the British government. How they were not cooperating with the British government? Students have been left the colleges and schools of the government. Then lawyers left the court. Then the workers have been left the job of the government also. So in this way they were not cooperating with the government. And if we talk about civil disobedience, it is equal to do not cooperate with the government and break laws too. So one more thing is added for civil disobedience, that is break laws too. They were not going to follow the laws which was made by British government. So the common point is that do it in a non-violent way. So both these mission, non-cooperation and civil disobedience, they have one common point, that they had accepted non-violent way, but they were breaking the laws. That is the one more thing added for civil disobedience. Now, civil disobedience reactions and effects. Okay, again, foreign goods were boycotted and liquor burnt. Officials resigned. Many refused to pay taxes. Tribals entered forests to collect things and graze. So, how they were non cooperating with the government? Foreign goods were boycotted. They were not ready to use the foreign products. Liquor burnt means the wine which they were drinking previously, it has been burnt. Afterwards, officials resigned. Those who were working for government, they have been resigned from their job. Many refused to pay taxes, and tribals, means the Adivasi people or those who were living in the forest area, they entered into the forest to collect the things without taking permission of the government and graze there. Okay. So again, British arrested leaders that led to violent clashes and then firings and killings. Okay, so accordingly, when people were non-cooperating with the British government, so what they did, they arrested the leaders, and that led to violent clashes. So again, it took the wrong turn, and then firings and killings were there. So again, Gandhiji called the moment off and attended a meeting in London, that is the Round Table Conference, which turned out to be useless. And after 3 years, he launched it again, but by then it had lost momentum. So previously he has been joined the meeting in London, which was a roundtable conference, but he was not getting success there, and it was useless. But after 3 years again, he have been launched it, but by then it had lost momentum. Momentum means what? The importance. Okay, it lost the importance as he was participating after 3 years there. So in this way, we have seen about civil disobedience movement, the difference between civil disobedience movement and non-cooperation movement, and what were the reactions and effects of it in the last one slide. So you have to read the section 3.1, the Salt March and the civil disobedience movement, till the end of the section 3.1. So you have to read which point for this lesson, 3.1, that is the Salt March and the civil disobedience movement. Okay. Now I will share the textbook with you, which you have. But before that, we'll see that about the first point towards civil disobedience, how it was started, and then how it is moving ahead. Okay. Who will read it? Reva? Those who want to read, just raise their hand.
Ma'am, in February 1922, right?
Yes.
Yes. In February 1922, Mahatma Gandhi decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement. He felt the movement was turning violent in many places and satyagrahis needed to be properly trained before they would be ready for mass struggles. Within the Congress, some leaders by now were tired of mass struggles and wanted to participate in elections to the to the provincial councils that had been set up by the Government of India Act of 1990. They felt that it was important to oppose British policies within the council, argue for reform, and also demonstrate that these councils were not truly democratic. C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru formed the Swaraj Party within the Congress to argue for a return to council pol- politics. But younger leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose pressed for more radical mass agitation and for full independence.
Okay. Thank you, dear. So what we have seen as an introduction, that Gandhiji have been uh, he decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement because it took a wrong turn. The people have been accepted the non-violent way. That's why he wanted to cancel this movement in 1922, because he was going to observe in the surrounding area the leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose. They pressed for more radical mass agitation, and they were telling to people that by forcibly only we'll get the independence for India, and accordingly they were giving support to these people. So, in such a situation of internal debate and dissension, two factors again shaped Indian politics towards the late 1920s, which were that the first was effect of the worldwide economic depression, then agricultural prices began to fall from 1926. So the farmers were not getting justice there because the prices were going to fall down from 1926, and it has been collapsed after 1930 completely. So as the demand for agricultural goods failed and exports declined, so peasants found it difficult to sell their harvest and pay their revenue. So by 1930, the countryside was in turmoil. Turmoil means what? A state of uncertainty. Otherwise, we can see that a trouble. Okay, so people were in trouble.
Against this background, the new government in Britain constituted the Statutory Commission under Sir John Simon, set up in response to the nationalist movement. The commission was to look into the functioning of the constitutional system in India and suggest changes. The problem was that the commission did not have a single Indian member. They were all British.
Will you continue? Second one.
Yes, ma'am. When Simon Commission arrived in India in 1928, it was greeted with the slogan, Go Back Simon. All parties, including Congress and the Muslim League, participated in the demonstrations. In an effort to win them over, the Viceroy Lord Irwin announced in October 1929 a vague offer of dominant status for India in an unspecified future and a roundtable conference to discuss a future constitution. This did not satisfy the Congress leaders. The radicals within the Congress, led by Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, became more assertive. The liberals and the moderates, who were proposing a constitutional system within the framework of British dominion, gradually lost their influence. In December 1929, under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru, the Lahore Congress formalized the demand of Purna Swaraj, or full independence for India. It was declared that 26 January 1930 would be celebrated as Independence Day when people were to take a pledge to struggle for complete independence. But the celebrations attracted very little attention. So Mahatma Gandhi had to find a way to relate this abstract idea of freedom to more concrete issues of everyday life.
Yes. So here we have seen the Simon Commission, and this commission have not been accepted by Indian people because, as we have seen, when that Simon Commission was moving under the control of Sir John Simon, they arrived in India in 1928. It was greeted with the slogan "Go back, Simon." So why people were telling "Go back, Simon"? Because in that commission there was not a single Indian people. All parties, including the Congress and Muslim League, they have been participated in the demonstration, and in an effort to win them over, the Viceroy Lord Irwin announced in October 1929. So a vague offer of dominant status for India in an unspecified future and a roundtable conference to discuss future constitution, but it has not been getting success there, and that's why this commission have been cancelled because there was not a single leader of India was included in it, that we are going to see in this way. Okay, so the people were not there in this mission, so that's why people were telling "Go back, Simon," and that commission have been stopped by Indian people. So afterwards, again Subhash Chandra Bose and Jawaharlal Nehru became more assertive, and the liberals and moderates were supporting to them. And in this way, they were getting the support of middle class people. And under presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru, the Lahore Congress formalized the demand of Purna Swaraj. So, under the guidance of Subhash Chandra Bose and Jawaharlal Nehru, the people were asking for complete independence, that is Purna Swaraj or full independence for India. And on this way, it was declared that 26th January 1930 would be celebrated as the Independence Day, when people were to take a pledge to struggle for complete independence. So they were taking a pledge on that same day. It is written here in the source 3 C. Okay, this was the pledge. You have to read it very carefully what things have been added in it, so you will understand that. And the people were attracted to this, and so Mahatma Gandhi ji had to find a way to relate this abstract idea of freedom to more concrete issues of everyday life. So they were not getting that much support from Indian people. That's why Mahatma Gandhi ji was thinking another way where he was getting the support of the people, and that's why he had been decided the salt march and to break the law of salt tax. So the civil disobedience movement was getting support from this. So this paragraph is very much important.
The Salt March and the Civil Disobedience Movement. Mahatma Gandhi found in salt a powerful symbol that could unite the nation. On 31 January 1930, he sent a letter to Viceroy Irvine stating 11 demands. Some of these were of general interest, others were specific demands of different classes, from industrialists to peasants. The idea was to make the demands wide ranging so that all classes within Indian society could identify with them and everyone could be brought together in a united campaign. The most stirring of all was the demand to abolish the salt tax. Salt was something consumed by the rich and the poor alike, and it was one of the most essential items of food. The tax on salt and the government monopoly over its production, Mahatma Gandhi declared, revealed the most oppressive face of British rule.
Yes, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Mahatma Gandhi's letter was, in a way, an ultimatum. If the demands were not fulfilled by 11 March, the letter started. The Congress would launch a civil disobedience campaign. Irvin was unwilling to negotiate. So Mahatma Gandhi started his famous Salt March, accompanied by 78 of his trusted volunteers. The march was over 240 miles from Gandhiji's ashram in Sabarmati to the Gujarati coastal town of Dandi. The volunteers walked for 24 days, about 10 miles a day. Thousands came to hear Mahatma Gandhi wherever he stopped, and he told them what he meant by Swaraj and urged them to peacefully defy the British. On 6 April, he reached Dandi and ceremonially violated the law, manufacturing salt by boiling seawater.
Yes. So here we have got the detailed information about salt march. It has been started. Sorry, when the demands were there, these were not fulfilled by 11th March. That's why Mahatma Gandhi ji was telling to them that he was going to start a movement or campaign against it that was known as civil disobedience campaign. And accordingly, Irwin was unwilling to negotiate. He was not ready to pass the demands of the Indian people. So Mahatma Gandhi started his famous salt march accompanied by 78 of his trusted volunteers for how many days? For 24 days, about 10 miles away, because that distance was 240 miles, and he was going to start from Sabarmati to the Gujarati coastal town of Dandi. So thousands came to hear Mahatma Gandhi, and wherever he was going, he was visiting that places. He was requesting the people that they have to defy the British. Okay, defy means they have to refuse the British government rules. So on 6th April, he reached Dandi and ceremonially violated the law manufacturing salt by boiling seawater. Okay, so till here we have been learn about the salt march. You have to read the ahead part of this till page number 40. Okay, so you will complete that towards civil disobedience, this one part. It is moving ahead, but 3.2 will see it in the next one. Okay, till here you have to read it. Any doubt in the lesson of third part of nationalism in India? Okay, students, so I will stop it here.
If you like our videos, do share them and subscribe to our channel. If you want awesome quizzes, write to us. Keep watching and keep learning with Walnut.